So this unreal othering happens when we have difference in religious views, we have difference in political views, when we're of different race, when we're of different class, when we're of any difference. It's very, very easy because of those millions of years of conditioning. When there's any difference, it sets off a bit of a fear that says, oh, other, not as good. We do it very quickly. So we've got these different energies going on inside us, and our trajectory is to awaken and realize belonging. Einstein puts it this way in one of his most famous quotes, and I love sharing this one because it's so resonant. He talks about an optical delusion of separation that's a kind of prison for us, that restricts our affections to just a few people nearest to us. He says our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circles of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. I want to share a story with you that was one of the stories that has most impacted me. And I share it once every couple of years. It was told by a Unitarian minister, and I'm aware here we are in a Unitarian church. I grew up Unitarian, and it was told on Christmas Eve. And I was with my family at the church, and this Unitarian minister told the story. And so this is a woman, she and her husband, 2 children, had a long, grueling trip. It was going down the coast in California, and they stopped at a restaurant that's nearly empty. And her youngest son, Eric, 1-year-old, is put in a high chair, and suddenly she hears him squeal with glee. He's saying, "Hi there." These are 2 words he thought were one. "Hi there." His face is alive with excitement. And then as she writes, she said, "I saw the source of his merriment, and my eyes could not take it in all at once. A tattered rag of a coat, baggy pants, both they and a zipper at half-mast over a spindly body, gums as bare as Eric's, hair uncombed, unwashed, and his hands were waving in the air, flapping about on loose wrists. 'Hi there, baby. Hi there, big boy. I see you, Buster.' My husband and I exchanged a look that was a cross between 'what do we do' and 'poor devil.' Eric continued to laugh and answer, 'Hi there.' Every call was echoed. This old geezer was creating a nuisance with my beautiful baby. I shoved a cracker at Eric, and he pulverized it on the tray. I whispered, 'Why me?' under my breath. Our meal came and the nuisance continued. Now the old bum was shouting from across the room, 'Do you know patty cake? Attaboy, you know peekaboo? Hey, look, he knows peekaboo.' We ate in silence, except Eric, who was running through his repertoire for the admiring applause of a Skid Row bum. Finally, we had enough. Dennis went to pay the check, imploring me, 'Get Eric and meet me in the parking lot.' I trundled Eric out of the high chair and looked toward the exit. The old man sat poised and waiting, his chair directly between me and the door. 'Lord, just let me out of here before he speaks to me or Eric.' I headed toward the door. It soon became apparent that both the Lord and Eric had other plans. As I drew closer to the man, I turned my back, walking to sidestep him and any air he might be breathing. As I did so, Eric, all the while with his eyes riveted to his best friend, leaned far over my arm, reaching with both arms in a baby pick-me-up position. In a split second of balancing my baby and turning to counter his weight, I came eye to eye with the old man. Eric was lunging for him, arms spread wide. The bum's eyes both asked and implored, 'Would you let me hold your baby?' There was no need for me to answer, since Eric propelled himself from my arms to the man's. Suddenly, a very old man and a very young baby were involved in a love relationship. Eric laid his tiny head upon the man's ragged shoulder. The man's eyes closed, and I saw tears hover beneath his lashes. His aged hands full of grime and pain and hard labor, gently, so gently, cradled my baby's bottom and stroked his back. I stood awestruck. The old man rocked and cradled Eric in his arms for a moment, and then his eyes opened and set squarely on mine. He said in a firm, commanding voice, "You take care of this baby." Somehow I managed, "I will," from a throat that contained a stone. He pried Eric from his chest, unwillingly, longingly, as though he was in pain. I held my arms open to receive my baby, and again the gentleman addressed me. "God bless you, ma'am. You've given me my Christmas gift." I said nothing more than a muttered thanks. With Eric back in my arms, I ran for the car. Dennis wondered why I was crying and holding Eric so tightly, and why I was saying, my God, forgive me." I remember sitting there in church after hearing this and just being so aware of how many people I had kind of in my mind put in a little box of something less than who they were. And how sad for them and for me, and how sad for a culture that's just really thick in the atmosphere, to not see the goodness that's here. And when we are living inside bias, superior, inferior, we can't see who's there. Our intelligence, our wisdom, our sight is narrowed. We can't see the goodness. We can't see our shared vulnerability. I often mention Mother Teresa saying, if you're suffering, it's because you've forgotten that you belong. And it doesn't matter whether we think we're superior or inferior. Either way, it's severed belonging, right? So we then sense what helps us to undo this. And the antidote is the intention when we become aware that there's in some way a putting down or an inflation, that we pause. And instead of believing our thoughts, we look to see the vulnerability. What's it like being you? And we look to see the goodness.